Hello, everyone. It's Quidnick here again. We're actually in Clayton Proper, and we just passed through a sign that had a bunch of shit. This is Billy's house, I think. Had a little creeper madness, as the old propaganda video says. You get a good view of the church and the tower, which maybe I'll show at some point. Again, this is Clay Lake, which did indeed have clay in it. We're coming up to Eric's sacrifice chamber. Leave offerings within the temple, including humans. Please, guys, please don't enter unless you're prepared to die. See, I'm apparently prepared to die. Sort of. No. Pussied out at the last moment. Alright, and this is the library. Let's see what we can get. Nether raids, which I will read off right now. Dramatis Personae, J. Palmo, Wolfie Man 463, Darkcammo, Leonan, Ice Dragon 3390, SGB with BFG. These brave men were the first to gather. They soon were joined by Leonin, then Wolfie. From down his rail line, and lastly by Darkcammo. Their woeful errand was thus. 5 heads were to be recovered from the grim fortress, each guarded by an armored withered skeleton, all but impervious to mundane arrows. Additionally, many of the fortress tunnels were sealed off. The party was to advance under the full view of the ghasts so prevalent in the Nether. They were each armed and ready for the battle that lay ahead. J. Palomo, the victorious, was clad in iron armor, enchanted wholly with an enchanted stone sword and bow. Wolfie Man the stalwart was clad in iron with a steel sword and bow. Darkcammo was in full chainmail of the same kind as the Wither Skeletons, with a steel sword and a bow to his side. Leonan in iron armor, but a leather breastplate with steel sword and a bow. Ice and SPG were adorned in iron and held steel swords and bows on their sides. They began following Darkcammo to the side entrance, where a group of zombies assailed them. The brave heroes dispatched them quickly and advanced inward. Crossing a courtyard, a volley of arrows fell upon them, but all survived. Then came the Battle of the Rooftop. On the largest tower in the fortress there lay a first head. Its guardian was overwhelmed by the party, but the warriors were soon beset on all sides by many a foe. Blazes, zombies, wither skeletons, and ghasts all attacked, and each fought like a lion for their very survival. Darkcammo, whilst attempting to direct the party, was cut down by a wither skeleton. Leonin too fell in battle to the draining magic of that dark foe. The 4 remaining warriors pressed on piecemeal, as their enemies made a little spelling error there, that's good, sir. Their enemies' numbers began to give them an advantage. Retreating further into the fortress, they regrouped and faced their second great challenge in the Hall of Blazes. Ghast fire found them once more, and many foes stalked the causeways. In this most perilous place, Ice Dragon fell into the great ocean of fire below, the party still grieving the loss of their comrade at the rooftop, and now the death of Ice Dragon took a watchtower in their second head. With haste, they crossed back across the Wall of Blazes and into a tunnel. There they found their most heavily armored withered skeleton, but he was no match for the prowess of those who remained. Returning through the Hall of Blazes, SGB was felled when a ghast's dread fireball hurled her from a walkway into the lava. The 2 remaining warriors had also made a name for themselves in slaying the Zombie King, and now they would double again their legacy as they fought back to the rooftop, the site of the party's greatest defeat. 3 heads were now in their possession, clambering onto a rooftop below the great tower. J. Palomo found a hidden pathway and climbed the ladder up it. There he found a tripwire, and upon setting it off, 2 witches descended upon the pair of fighters. They fought warily, eventually gaining the momentum to surge inwards and kill those spellcasters. They were injured, and suffering ill effects from the witches' magics, and so they rested near the secret entrance, having recovered 3 enchanted apples from their hoard. It was during this time that J. Palomo's most valiant companion met his end, and the zombie ambush took his life. J. Palomo avenged him and recovered his body and belongings, weeping tears of vengeance and cursing the cruel gods that must rule over this foul, foul place. Alone, he set out wandering the corridors in search of the final 2 heads, and an end to his terrible task. The fortress was much quieter, only pockets of foes and the occasional ghast remaining from their righteous slaughter visited upon them by the 6. He found another head on a derelict bridge, taking it and moving on to discover the end of his journey. The foe attempted to rally a few times as he homed in on the final head, but he could not be stopped. He found it out of the way near the site of his most loyal ally's ignominious end. He claimed it from the wither skeleton, and he began his escape. The enemy redoubled their final efforts, but he eluded the foe and outdown any who stepped in his path. Slipping out a stairway, he climbed out of a glass spiral and arrived at the chest where he was to place the heads. His errands were done. He offloaded his burden, distributing the immense wealth he had gained, the looted war gear and the treasures of the enemies, their stronghold despoiled and its garrison laid low. He held a great glory as a fine warrior, but he would rue the terrible cost of that glory for years to come. So ends the tale of the second Nether Raid. Dramatis Personae, J. Palomo and Wolfie Man 463. In the very first Nether Raid, J. Palomo arrived along at the gathering place. It seemed he was to undertake this quest by himself. However, he was able, through his immense volume of equipment and some perseverance, convince Wolfie Man to accompany him on this most dangerous of tasks. He waited for Wolfie Man, and when he at last arrived, having settled matters in the overworld sufficiently, the 2 girded themselves for the full details of their quest. The quest was given, and it was thus. The 2 warriors must find the zombie king and his entourage and slay them. However, there would be a location of good distance beyond the entrance. A simple quest, and the pair took little time in organization. J. Palomo, possessing a great quantity of potions, buffed both of them before they burst through the door and immediately came under fire from a ghast. They flew through the main entrance and began hacking their way through the corridors. A zombie tripped a trap and ignited itself just before the warriors, sparing them from similar pain. Later, Wolfie Man crossed the tripwire before J. Palomo could stop him, and they were beset by 2 blazes, which J. Palomo dispatched using his bow and the cover of the nearby doorway. Charging across an exposed bridge, they encountered the group of blaze spawners. In an attempt to cross a gap in the broken bridge, Wolfie Man fell deep into the lava. His death would have been certain were it not for J. Palomo's fire protection potions. Wolfie Man swam to shore and was brought back to the entrance, while J. Palomo engaged in a number of blazes. Leaving the blaze-heavy area, he crossed a tripwire and was ambushed by 4 zombies, which he slew quickly. Nearby was a tower, and its entrance was closed by a simple gate. Within he spied the zombie king, bedecked in gold armor with an iron sword, and his loyal soldiers, 3 around him, and 1 more on the floor above, each armored in iron and bearing a stone sword. J. Palomo wisely opted to backtrack through the fortress to meet back up with Wolfie Man. Once they had met again near the disarmed Blaze trap, they ran back towards the Zombie King's tower. As they approached, however, a witch appeared before them, and they battled for several seconds, with only potions before the 2 rushed the foe and brought her down with their blades. J. Palomo was poisoned, but his seemingly extravagant preparations were paying off. He outlasted the potion and used fresh buffs on himself and Wolfie before opening the gate and challenging the Zombie King himself. The zombies stood little chance against the supercharged warriors, and soon the pair claimed victory and were safely whisked back to the overworld. J. Palomo was awarded the head of the Zombie King, and for his stalwart efforts of both survival and preparation, as it turns out, he used all of his potions. Such was the task. And here ends the tale of the first Never Raid. Well, that was the library. The sun was about to set because I basically just spent that time reading really, really loudly and in a dramatic voice. Good stuff. This is some guy's chest that I'm snooping around without his permission. Yep, that's all in a day's work. All in a day's work. Oh, this is the altar of Eric, the creator of worlds, of course. Always has to be a religious symbol for him. Not too much going on, just a worshipping site, I guess. We're going back up. Going on up. If I could walk through a door properly, that would be really nice. Okay, so this right here is like a small little watchtower that someone made. It's one of the first structures here in town. We evolved quite a bit in our style, which is nice. This was originally going to be some sort of museum and Starbucks. I couldn't decide, but I ended up doing neither. You know. What are you gonna do? Sometimes you just don't get the funding. So this place could be renamed Sugar Clayton, I guess. It's a little grave for Piggy and the Spleef Arena that we're in right now. I don't get the colors. I don't understand how this was even supposed to work. Losers suck big, as you can see. Yep. Very nice. Very, very nice. And over here, it's, please enter through the human door, baby pigs. It's just a big pig farm. It's an animal farm. By George Orwell. By the way, if you don't get that reference, you should, because it's a very important book, I would say. So, over here we got Sarah's bedroom. And a nice porch view, or patio view of the town. It's where she keeps her dogs, I guess. And here's the message board. Construction of the library. Some adverts. Good stuff again. And this is the town hall, which has roots to sewers underneath, a communal chest, and some useful maps of the region, the town, and all that. Very cool. I guess he thinks he's John Entwistle from The Who, is my guess. Double bed, because, again, he's a boss. Like, as it is a communist dwelling, he has his little red thing there, but... Well, we gave names to the roads. Holy shit, this thing is tall. I've been climbing up for a minute now. Holy fucking hell. Alright, well, we're at the top. I know I promised that I would never be here, but... you know. Let's see if I can make this. I can't see the ground, but... There we go. I can do this. I can do this, guys. Check it out. Check it out. Almost there. Yep. Yep. Ow.